My name is Alissa Haslam, and I am very excited to be launching our Saturday round of Spark Talks. And I'm here to talk to you about a brand new public financing program that we launched in a little town called Seattle last year in 2017. And it happened about a year ago. So we think early January last year, every voter in Seattle opened their mailbox, and they sifted through the ads, they sifted through newsletters, and they got this envelope. And inside contained 4 slips of paper worth $25 that they could use to support candidates of their choice in the 2017 election. These are Democracy Vouchers. You may have heard of them. Now first, let me take a step back and tell you how this program came to be. Back in 2015, voters in Seattle overwhelmingly approved an initiative that had a whole suite of democracy reforms, but the cornerstone was this new public financing initiative, and we put it on the ballot for 2 reasons. One, we really wanted to create a new program that would put the power back in the hands of ordinary people to get involved in their elections. And the theory is that by giving every person $100, you're essentially turning them into a potential donor. And that's going to incentivize candidates to go out and spend time with their communities and their constituents versus big dollar donors. And so we were really excited because this initiative passed with over 60% of the vote, to much of our surprise. And I can tell you more about that at another time. So back to January. Essentially, remember, this is also 2 months after the presidential election. People have just gotten back from the holidays. They spent a lot of time with their family. They get their envelope, and they're not thinking at all about what elections are going to be on the ballot in November 2017. So they take it, they probably throw it in the recycling, throw it in the trash, tuck it away in their to-do pile. Regardless, voters are not thinking at all about Seattle elections in 2017. Fast forward to May, and this is where candidates are really starting to step up and making decisions about running for office. And we have 4 elections on our ballot in 2017. 2 at-large city council races and the city attorney are all races where democracy vouchers are eligible to be used. We were really excited because in Council City 8, this was going to be an open race, and we had 8 candidates running, which gave us a really great opportunity to look at how would vouchers and voters engage in a way when you've got multiple candidates versus just incumbents running for office. But I don't know how many of you follow local Seattle elections. What we didn't expect is that we were going to have an open mayor's race. Essentially, our then mayor, Ed Murray, who was a shoo-in to win, resigned unexpectedly amidst a big scandal, and 21 candidates entered the race. Yeah. And this was a race where democracy vouchers were not eligible. So essentially, we have 4 races, 3 with democracy vouchers available, 1 where they are not, and a very large field of candidates running. So this created a lot of confusion, but also at the end of the day, this gave us a really great opportunity to examine the voucher program in 2 open races. 1 where vouchers were used, and 1 where vouchers weren't. So it gave us as advocates a really great opportunity to examine the program from the get-go. So May happens, candidates are running, they're doing what they need to. A lot of candidates were attesting that they wanted to use the vouchers, and they were going through the necessary steps to become eligible. And then the primary happened on August 1st. And we had our field of candidates for the general election. We had 2 candidates in the city council race, both of whom used vouchers, and both of whom beat out a well-moneyed candidate who lost. And then we had our field for the mayor as well. And this is really where advocates stepped up their game. Remember, most of the voters in Seattle likely recycled their envelope, didn't know about the program, didn't know how to use them, didn't know what races they could be used in, so it really depended upon folks like us and our large coalition of people to really get their folks out and mobilized. So we were out in full force, we were canvassing, we were doorbelling, we were sending text messages, and we had a really strong digital campaign focused on getting people the right information on how to get their vouchers replaced and who they should be using their vouchers for. We focused a lot of our time and energy in South Seattle, where we had high numbers of low propensity voters, voters of color, and young people, again, towards our intent of making sure that this program created a new entry point for folks to get involved in local elections. So what was the result? Overwhelming success in our first round. If you can see, we had almost 3 times as many people giving vouchers in the city council race than individual donors who gave cash donations in the mayor's race. And remember that $1.6 million was raised in $25 increments, which is pretty amazing. And what we found in our early analysis is that it was young people, people of color, and low-income adults who showed up more than they had in the past, and also a lot of them were new donors who had never given to a campaign before. So why do we care? Why am I telling you this story? Essentially, I think we can all agree that We are in a time where the disparities in who is showing up in our elections and who's getting elected is widening, and people are really disillusioned and not excited at all about the political system as it exists. And I firmly believe that it is incumbent upon us as advocates to really pilot creative solutions at the local level in municipalities, because in order for us to really make the democracy that we want to see, it needs to come from the ground up. And we're really excited that in Seattle we had an opportunity to create a new innovative approach that we think is going to be a promising program that we can strengthen and expand both in Seattle and in other cities, that will bring a new pathway for folks to get engaged, see themselves reflected in democracy, and have new elected officials run for office. So thank you.